everyone, and welcome back to the Danny Nixon Show. I am Danny Nixon, and here is my co-host and producer and chat moderator, Captain Logan.
Hey, everybody, and greetings.
Danny, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you.
I'm doing good. I don't know why you referred to yourself in the third person there for a second. But,
because people keep calling this the Danny Nixon Show. I feel like a mutiny coming on, where it's like, you know what, Cap, you're fine, but we're really here for Danny Nixon.
Which is crazy because I figured everyone would be like, who is this guy? Why is he talking? I want to hear Captain Logan speak.
You know, I never saw that comment one time, which tells us a possible couple of different things. Either folks have really come to appreciate you and accept you, Danny, or they're really tired of me talking constantly for a full hour.
I'm actually really self-conscious, so anytime I see a negative comment, I delete it. So.
Oh, is that what? Oh, and you know what? You've gotten mod status, so yeah. I guess it is possible you've gotten rid of some stuff and I didn't even see it.
No.
Oh man, that might explain why I don't see as many Danny Nixon comments as I might expect. He does like a search filter for Danny, and if it's remotely negative, man, you sound like a person of authority I could name right now. That's amazing. Anyway, so welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. Boy, that's about as political as I ever get. Thanks a lot for being here, folks. We are gonna, for the next hour or so, answer your questions. We're gonna talk about whatever it is you guys would like us to talk about. No theme show tonight. Just ask me anything, and you can ask Danny Nixon stuff too if you really want to, since as we have concluded, this is his show. See lots of folks in the comments already. There's Cinematographic. There's Grady Childs. Malik is here. Hello, Malik. William Parcell is here. Good old Gamer's here. I don't think we've seen him in a while or so. I didn't see his comments last time. What are you laughing at? What is so funny?
Rockman LP says Danny Nixon's delete Volution. I love it.
That's pretty good. How you doing, Rockman? There's Blue Dragon 5. There's David Crabtree. Thomas Etchell's here. Madman. Lots of folks here for the Danny Nixon, Captain Logan show. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into stuff in just a second. I wanted to mention that I am working on another rewind. Hopefully that'll be out next week on my top 50 performances. So look forward to that happening in the near future. We've got the Daredevil Rewind up on iTunes and other podcast platforms now. So it's hosted on Podbean, excuse me, and that link is in not the description right now because I didn't think to put it in there, but it's in places. It's on my Facebook right now. I posted a thing, and it'll be in the Geekflution Omnibus. Danny and I are talking about a website where these these things will be very easy to find and locate, so that I don't have to say like we have a thing, but I can't tell you where it is. So anyway, like with t-shirts and things, Redbubble, Captain Logan, something rather, go find it. It's searchable. We are consummate professionals here at Geekflution. Anyway, so that's the big stuff I want to mention. The Geekflution Omnibus will be out hopefully tomorrow. I've got most of it exported, but I'm just working on the last few videos. So look forward to that. And the next omnibus after that in 3 weeks will be a Halloween omnibus, and we'll have that out just in time for the holiday, probably about a week before the holiday. We're going to be reviewing a lot of horror films.
Ooh, I need to send you my request money.
Oh goodness, yeah. Hopefully I can get that done by then. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have time to read a whole book by then. But
if not, don't worry about it, and we can discuss doing that at a different time. But
yeah,
because I forgot to send the money a while ago.
I'll try though. That would be a good time to do that. And if not, then I'm doing a lot of requests outside of that of the omnibus now too. So anyway, I digress. Let's get into questions, shall we? Danny, let's start with a couple of the super chats, since we've already got some of those. The super chat, of course, is always open, and if you want to make sure that your question or comment is read on air, you can make a little donation to the channel, and we sure appreciate the support. You guys are absolutely wonderful. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it, and how helpful it has been doing this show weekly, having the super chats. You guys are absolutely wonderful. It is right up there with Patreon as a major way that we fund the channel now, and just want you guys to know how much we appreciate it. Danny, let's do a couple of those, and then let's go to some I almost said scripted comments, to some comments that people wrote down without super chat. But as always, every super chat will be answered during the show. Go ahead, Mr. Nixon.
Okay, we'll start off with Jeffrey E. Patron first to satisfy my own massive ego. He says, "Another great Captain Nixon show. What fun!"
Captain Nixon. Wow, I don't know. That's going a little too far. Like, even if it is Danny Nixon's show, like he hasn't been around long enough to name himself a captain. I don't
Yeah, I
think.
think that's called stolen valor, actually.
I mean, I stole it too, but I did it first, and well, I said he hasn't been around for long enough. I've always called myself that. It's not like I was, like Ensign Logan and then Lieutenant Commander Logan. What else we got?
Okay, the next one from Malik Myers. Thoughts on the new Bumblebee trailer?
Yeah, I watched that yesterday. I'm more interested in it than I was before. Danny, did you watch that?
No, I have
Okay.
zero interest in Transformers outside of Transformers Armada.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, fair enough. So I guess I'll fly solo here for a second. Yeah, it looks like way more of just a straight up Transformers movie to not have Transformers in the title. I think it will still probably perform pretty well. I think the word is going to get around that it looks like it has Cybertron flashbacks and that it's got really cool looking G1 designs, particularly for Starscream and a couple of other Autobots and Decepticons. And I like with that first trailer, I thought it could go either way. Like, I kind of thought maybe the diehard fan base wouldn't show up for it, but families would. Now I think it has a shot at doing pretty well. It might come back and even do the old Michael Bay numbers after the last movie. For those flopped. I mean, I'm sure it made money, but it was not anything like what they usually take in. But even the really crappy ones before that did insane amounts of money, particularly overseas, but they still did pretty well here. I think Bumblebee looking like it might be a kind of a soft reboot, and again having kind of G1 designs and being more of a Transformers movie than I expected it to be, and I think a lot of people did. I think it has the chance of being pretty successful. It's also, to me, looking less and less like it's like a Michael Bay movie. It's still got its connections to that, but depending on the story they're telling, I think it would be really easy to soft reboot out of this, even if that's not what it definitely is inside of that movie. I don't want to say I'm stoked for it, but I'm a lot more intrigued than I was.
Okay, I don't have anything else to add to it. So the next question, spoilers, just in case for anyone who hasn't seen Infinity War yet. I'm sure most people have, but just wanted to get that out of the way.
Sure.
With how Infinity War ends, would now be the right time for the MCU to introduce Miles Morales as the second Spider-Man. And have you seen the show PJ Mask? You rock.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I've not looked at PJ Mask. That's I think kind of a little kid superhero show. I've seen like action figures and things for it, but I've not actually looked at that show. And my kids haven't watched it either. So maybe at some point I think that's streaming. Maybe at some point they'll watch one of those and I'll look at it and see if it's cool or not. But anyway, as far as that being the right time to introduce Miles Morales, I mean, I don't know that it's any better than any other time to do it. I mean, it's not like it's the same thing as Secret Wars where it's a reboot for that continuity, or at least it sure doesn't look like that's what they're doing. So I don't know why. Danny, I don't know why that moment would be the time to bring him back, where it's like, and then we bring back disintegrated people, and there's Miles Morales. Like, is that what we're talking about? Like, why are we pinpointing this moment? I'm kind of not sure about the premise.
I think the idea is instead of bringing Peter Parker back, we just go straight into Miles Morales being inspired by Spider-Man, which I don't know. Maybe to me it feels a little too soon because we haven't really seen a whole lot of stuff where Spider-Man's kind of in the news enough
but also
to inspire someone. But
regardless of how you might feel about that idea, we know that's not what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they're shooting the second movie and it's not Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So like we know for sure that's not what's going on. So like if the question is, would it have been the time to do that? We didn't spend enough time with him. I need at least a trilogy of those movies before we feel the need to move the pants, as it were, to someone else. I am totally fine with introducing Miles Morales as a second Spider-Man at some point. I would not be surprised if he doesn't show up or if he shows up in the next movie as another kid that Peter goes to high school with. Although, if they've been able to keep that under their hats, that's impressive because that would be big news. No, I wonder if there's not maybe plans where Marvel is either not allowed to use him yet, or they've just decided not to, so that when eventually, and I think inevitably the rights, hopefully not, but I think probably inevitably the rights revert back to Sony and they start making their Spider-Man movies, they do it. And they want that to be a thing they get to do instead of Marvel, so that they can maybe have like 2 franchises going at the same time. I think that's more than likely what they'll do.
Yeah, I think the reason we've held off on doing Miles is because Marvel doesn't own him yet, and they don't want to introduce another character that could then go to Sony, where they could make their own, spin-off franchise from it. I mean, there's nothing stopping them from doing it now, but if they had that Marvel cred behind that character as well, it might push that character as a more viable option than
I think what would be stopping them. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I think what might be stopping them from doing it now is they're not being sure if they. This is all confusing, right? If they get Spider-Man back eventually and Marvel's not using him, when their contract's up, like what continuity exactly they're dealing with, because they're making their own movies, and I don't know if they know. I'm sure they know what they like to do. I don't know if they know how much of what Marvel's done they're going to try to keep inside of their continuity, or if they're going to get completely away from it. And again, if they really want to use that character, they're not going to want to reboot Miles. They're going to want to use, if a version gets popular, they're going to want to use that. Secondly, I should mention, they also might be trying, both companies might be trying to avoid brand confusion because of Into the Spider-Verse, because that is, Miles Morales' mostly led movie, it looks like.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot that movie was.
And if that's really big, even though it's animated, they've already got their ticket with Miles Morales there that they can do sequels with. Okay, let's do some scripted. Let's do some pre-written questions. Good.
Okay. From Kelly Jones she just tagged me. Sorry about that. Don't you guys think you are a little too hard on Laurel Lance, considering that most female characters on a CW show are severely underwritten?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So predictably, I'm going to say no. I don't think I'm too hard on Laurel Lance, and the main reason is because I liked her and that I didn't. There was a standard already. I mean, that's my whole thing with that show in general, is that it began leaps and bounds above the predictable, melodramatic, forced dramatic nonsense that often plagued Smallville. And Laurel looked like she might be that character, and then a few episodes in, suddenly she seems remarkably reasonable and is giving Oliver and other characters the benefit of the doubt, and I'm liking her. And then she turned into one of those stereotypes and became really difficult to digest. And then also, as we discussed last show, they took her in directions that were just not plausible, that kind of helped to break that universe at large. And of course, the big thing I'm talking about is making her a Black Canary without nearly enough training, when Oliver and Sarah both had plenty and difficult lives that got them to that place. I think it's a credit. It's a credit to the character that she was at first, that I don't like her later. They turned her into something else.
Yeah, and to the point about CW shows having underwritten female characters, speaking specifically of just Arrow in seasons 1 and 2, because that's the only good stuff I've seen of that show. They've got Nyssa, they've got Sarah, they've got Moira, and in certain parts they've got
understand. My favorite character in that entire continuity is a woman.
Yeah, like they had in those 4 seasons, and Felicity was really good there. So you've got 4 like consistently well-written female characters, and then you got Laurel, who just kind of has her moment. Her and Thea both kind of have their moments where they're good and other moments where they're
if you think the ball was dropped on strong female characters with those shows, that is, I believe, a symptom of a larger problem.
Yeah, I think that's just the quality of writing in general went down, and it really, really affected the
I think they got complacent. I think they said, "Oh, these shows are popular now. We don't have to try as hard." At least that's what it feels like. It's what it always felt like. And of course, both of those shows kind of do a lot of their big, exciting. You can tell somebody had a passion for these ideas, things in the first season or two, and then the shows were popular enough to keep on, and they really weren't sure what they wanted to do after that. So I don't know. I just, if, again, let me reiterate, if those shows don't have strong female characters, it's it's and I mean I think they do as much as they have strong male characters at this point. I don't think the issue is gender. I think it's that the shows just aren't as well written as they used to be. But I think it's a symptom of a larger problem.
The next question from William Parcell. Cap.
Thanks for that question, because I completely understand why how you got there, but respectively, I must disagree.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Really good question. William Parcell, as well as the Wanderer, he asked, but I'm not reading his specific wording. Asked Cap, what do you think of Telltale shutting down?
Oh, it's so sad. Certainly, and we're finding out more and more information about this. So Eric and I have a captain's log that'll come out in the next couple of days that we shot back on Sunday that won't have all that information in it because we shot it before a lot of that stuff came out. But it sounds like there were some board decisions that led to that. It sounds like they were already in trouble and nobody knew it. They were kind of keeping it hush hush, and it turned out that they really needed another sponsor or not another. I'm sorry, another backer, and that was supposed to be Lionsgate. Did you read about this, Danny? And Lionsgate, I guess, pulled out at the 11th hour or just didn't agree, like they were hoping that they would to come in and back them, and that's a lot of why they shut down. And now there's massive lawsuits over firing everyone so quickly, and some of the employees saying without cause, which I'm a little bit confused about, in all honesty, because I don't know what else you do if you're going bankrupt.
I don't know their whole legalese, and I don't know what their contract says.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't have all the information.
All I've seen about this is one developer or someone who worked on the development side of it, like right when the news broke, came out talking about how there was like no benefits given to them after, no severance package or anything like that. And he was talking about this is what I get for like working day in and day out and like overtime and not getting paid to make sure games came out on time and all this kind of stuff. And I feel so bad for all the people working behind the scenes on this kind of stuff. No,
I do too. I'm just not, and this is not me taking up for the company over the employees. I just don't understand it. I'd like more information. I don't understand where suing over being fired without cause comes from. Like, that was the wording. And I'm like, but the company is going under. I don't understand that.
I think it would just kind of depend on what state they're in, because if they're in an at will employment state, they have no lawsuit, I would think. Again, this all depends on what's in their contract, so I don't want to speculate.
And I guess I don't even know if they filed or not.
Yeah,
if they filed Chapter 11 or not. I think they did, but I don't remember if I read that anywhere. So
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe some folks will have information they can feed us in the comments here. Hey, Danny, real quick, but I'm sorry to actually answer the question. Of course, I'm super sad about that. I'm sad to not get more Batman. There are all like Telltale was popular enough, at least in our circles on this channel, that it seems like almost every other week, Danny, somebody would ask us, what's the next thing you want to see Telltale put together? Like, we were constantly talking about that.
Andrew Smollett says they were employees hired literally a week before the firings happened. That's what the problem is. So if that's what it is, yeah, I can see a lawsuit there of, you surely knew a week ago that the company was closing down. Why on earth would you hire anybody?
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that potentially makes sense. Sure. So yeah, no, it sucks. There are a few companies that are talking about helping them get Walking Dead done, so that final season might still come out after all. I hope some other companies might consider getting into that story-driven, choose-your-own-adventure kind of style in general and do some more of those kinds of games. But it would also be cool, and I'd like to take longer to make, but it would also be cool to see some stuff in more of the vein of Detroit Become Human, but with some of these licensed properties, because I really like the kind of play a TV show as you go thing that Telltale was doing. But it would also be really cool to see the level of depth and number of different paths, branches, like you had with Detroit Become Human, with some of those licenses.
Yeah. Do you want to do another non-super chat question before we get back into the super chat?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Oh, you know what? I've got a question for you real quick. Danny, somebody asked you, Cinematographic, what's up, Danny?
Currently my ceiling in a bunch of clouds, because we've got a lot of cloud coverage right now.
Do you? Are you going to lose power again in the middle of the show?
God, I hope not. really
I say again that was a video Danny and I were making on our own at one point that hasn't come out yet. We had to start over because Danny lost power and couldn't get back on the whole night. He couldn't get back on.
Yeah. Real quick before we get to the other questions and the other super chats, the Vacuuminator for $5 says, "Can I borrow $5?" I love it.
Yeah, I'll give it right back, buddy. Just let me know after the show, and then I'll wonder why we're doing this. That's great. I've never seen that. That's really funny.
Just keep switching it back and forth through PayPal. Just here, I'll give you $5. You give me $5. We just keep switching the same $5 back and forth.
Yeah, which is funny because at the end of the day, it's even less meaningless. I mean, it's even more meaningless than just handing a $5 bill back and forth because it's not even real money. Like, it's all completely on paper.
The next question from Mario 500 now. He's been asking this for a while, and I just haven't had a chance to get to it with the volume of super chats we've been getting.
Yeah,
Captain, had you ever seen or heard of a certain documentary for CNN related to animated cartoons? The history of comedy drawn to be funny. So have you seen?
I have not. I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, it's part of a little mini documentary series they do about comedy in general, and one episode was dedicated to animation. I haven't seen it.
Okay. Have you seen it? I
haven't seen it, and normally I watch all those because CNN's documentaries are really pretty good like that, like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s series that they do.
Yeah.
So I've been meaning to check it out because I keep seeing him bring it up. It, based on everything else I do, is good. So I'd recommend people go and check that out.
Yeah, I'll try to look into that. I just wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, getting into the super chats now. Pandora asks, thoughts on Teen Wolf Season 2?
Man, Pandora, just stop opening the box, okay? Stop opening your box. I
can do what they want.
I am a few episodes in. I don't want to review it right now. That'll come out in the not too distant future. But at the moment, so far, not liking it as well as season 1. But I might, as I see things come together, like it a lot more. I think it's a little bit more melodramatic and a little bit more typical than the first season was, or maybe some of the novelty of it has worn off on me. It's okay. Again, the mythology stuff continues to be interesting, and some of the mysteries are cool. I'm not liking Allison as well as I did first season. I could not stop talking about her first video. Something has changed with that. I can't put my finger on it. But anyway, so yeah, I'm still enjoying it, but I gotta be honest with you, I'm starting to lose interest a little bit. Okay. What else, Danny?
Scrolling back up to
Daniel Davis says, "What's up? Your cholesterol."
Scrolling back up to the super chats that I missed because I was on the second page of my notes. Jeffrey Patron says, "We are Nixon." Dun 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 dun. But the random reviewer asks, "What are your thoughts?"
Was that the Jaws theme?
He just put dun 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 dun. So I just
Danny Nixon. Dun. Yeah, you gotta get penalties like dun dun.
But no, random reviewer asks, thoughts on Daredevil Season 3 release date being October 19th?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What are your thoughts on the release date for Daredevil Season 3 being October 19th?
Oh, it's so early!
It really is.
So soon after Iron Fist, which is no big deal because I'll get this out of the way right now. We talk about this on the Omnibus too. Danny, I've watched, and I know you haven't because you didn't watch first season, and that's why you still have more brain cells than me. We got 4 episodes in to the new season of Iron Fist, and I'm sorry, guys, I don't know what people are talking about. I still don't like it. I cannot. I'm so bored. I cannot get excited to finish it, and we have not decided yet if we're gonna give it another episode or 2 before we quit for good. But we reviewed what we watched in 10 or 15 minutes. But so I guess it's not such a big deal for me that it's coming out right after it because I may not even bother finishing it, honestly. But Daredevil Season 3, I don't know, man. It's just so early. I'm excited about it. Don't get me wrong. So I guess it's cool that we get it so early, but it's just one more thing I've got to turn around and binge and review, in a world where it doesn't matter how quickly I get it done. Yay! But in my world, oh man, already.
The next super chat from David Crabtree. Hey, Danny. Oh yeah, Cap too. Cap, any plans to see Transformers tomorrow night? Checked my theater earlier. Sorry about that noise. It's almost sold out. #CyberMex 2019.
Oh, is that tomorrow? I forgot that was yeah. So the answer to that is yes, and that will preempt probably the other thing we were gonna go to. Who asked that?
David Crabtree.
I figured that was David. I just missed it. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me about that, David, because I completely forgot about that, and Eric is not going to want to miss that. So as we speak, I'm going to send him a message right now and make sure that we can get that together if he still wants to go. But I know he'll want to. So anyway, what else have you got there, Danny? Do we? I'm losing track. Do we need to get back to regular questions, or?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, staying on the Daredevil track. 7 Beetle of Doom says, "Are you hoping for a fully costumed Bullseye?"
I know Eric is really hard. I don't know. I don't really have a solid opinion on this because I tend to have. This is not an interesting answer, but this is just how I feel about it. I tend to be really open-minded and not be super opinionated about such things, especially with Netflix Marvel, because they have some costumes, but they tend to be a little bit more grounded and understated. So it would be kind of weird if Bullseye had a full-blown costume, but Daredevil has not a super comic booky costume. Like I said in the rewind, I would have much preferred a, more true to the comics costume, but I get why they did what they did, and it looks fine in the context of the show, I think. So I don't know. I kind of want to wait and see what they do and evaluate what it is on its own merits.
I don't care what they do with Bullseye's costume, as long as I get a scene where he's on an airplane and he asks for more peanuts.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. More peanuts, please. He's probably not going to have that accent either.
Man, I just love that they brought Colin Farrell back to play that role. I just love his portrayal of Bullseye in that movie so much.
Oh, I know, me too. But yeah, I will be surprised if he doesn't have the indention in his forehead.
Yeah, I think that's a given now, and I think that's like the one thing from that movie that will like pull from now on anytime we do anything with Daredevil outside of the comics, because I think the Bullseye like scarred into his head is a great idea.
What else do you have?
Okay, let me pull it up. Okay, Kellen O'Rourke asks, "How do you feel about the Star Trek 4 situation?"
It's unfortunate. Assuming that would have been a great movie, right? Because like, I wasn't excited. I wasn't super excited about that premise. So if I had the script in front of me and it's amazing, I would feel bad that it doesn't look like we're gonna get Chris Pine back, and that we're gonna have his dad and all of that, Hemsworth. But like I said, I can't get excited about that premise in the first place. So if it ended up being mediocre to bad, I'd rather that franchise end on a high note. But also, it's still very possible that movie gets made even without him, I guess, and that would be weird. Like, I really don't want another Star Trek movie in that continuity without Pine. Like, I'm not saying Quinto couldn't carry it on his own, but it would just be really weird to have a TOS era Star Trek movie without Kirk at all, like not killing him off or anything. I don't know what that would be like. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know about you, Danny. I don't think that movie performs. Like, I wouldn't put that out. I think you have to keep most of that cast together.
I didn't even know there was a situation. I'm still not fully
Chris,
aware of what's going on, but I kind of caught on.
Contracts both went through, and they're apparently not coming back. There's been some talk that it's possible that like at the 11th hour they'll find a way to bring them back in. But if that doesn't happen, I would axe that. I don't think it's a good idea to move forward with that project.
Yeah, scrap it, start over. Yes. Yeah. Getting back to the super chats, Pandora asks, "What are your thoughts on Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker?"
Again, I'm not. This is not going to be a really interesting answer. I'm kind of ambivalent about this. I don't like. I want to see it in the context of it. Because I don't know what exactly they're doing. The one I sent Eric the first picture we got that was just him in out of makeup. And Eric's response was, "Well, he just looks like a guy." And my response was, "But it looks like Joaquin Phoenix is completely disappearing in the role, and that's pretty cool. It doesn't look like him. I mean, like they're doing something very unique and possibly very original. The thing with the clown makeup, again, I don't think people should jump the gun too much. I would be very surprised, Danny, if that's the final form. I know those are supposed to be leaked pictures, but like this early, seeing those, do you really think that's what the actual Joker is going to look like? I think it's a lot more likely that that's him as a comedian wearing clown makeup.
There was also a leaked video where he's got that exact same makeup and suit.
Mm-hmm. And doing Joker stuff?
Doing Joker stuff. And it looks like for at least a part of it, it will be him. That will be what he looks like as a Joker. I'm 210% sold on this. And you know,
are you really? Wow. Okay.
I did not care about this movie at all.
Like slightly generic, but the thing is, last time I looked at Joker makeup, I'm sorry. Last time I looked at Joker makeup and was like, that's a bad idea. It was a bad idea. The time before that, with Ledger, it ended up being great in the context of it. So I have a really wait and see attitude on this. But I am surprised so that means it's not going to be Vat of Acid, probably.
No, it looks like it's just going to be he's got clown makeup for whatever reason. That screen test footage that they sent where it's like projected over normal Joaquin Phoenix and then it switches. That's what sold me on this. I love that. That looked amazing.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Okay. I just saw the pictures.
Yeah, look up it was officially put out by whoever the director is, so it's not like it's leaked anything. It's really good quality. Listen to it with the sound. That's all I'm saying.
I resist this. I don't like that they just started shooting. We already know as much as we do.
They put this stuff out.
I don't like that.
The director said he put this stuff out officially because there was leaked stuff coming out. He wanted people's first looks to be.
Oh, no, of course. I get that. And I'm not being judgmental against him for putting anything out. I don't like that we're talking about it already. And so like, I get that people are curious about my opinion, but like, I'm trying not to, I mean, I don't have to try that hard. I don't immediately formulate a lot based on like, images on sets and stuff. But yeah, I'm not immediately sold or not sold on it. It looks a little bit generic, but it might be great for what they're doing. It looks low budget, and that's what they promised, so that's cool.
Yeah. The next super chat from Katie Goober. She asks, "How is Steve Baxi?"
I don't know. I haven't talked to Steve in a while. I hope he's good. It's been a little while since I've talked to him.
Okay. Jacob May asks, "What do you dread more, BVS or Iron Fist season 1 rewind?"
BVS, because that's never going to happen. I don't have any intention of writing that. So please don't be confused by the set precedent. The fact that I did the first season of Daredevil does not mean that I'm doing all the other Netflix shows. It doesn't mean that I won't do any of them necessarily. Like if I just really get into the idea of reviewing one of those, I will. That was difficult. That was, and I'm not saying I won't do something just because it's difficult, but I mean, like, I have to take more time on 13 episodes. It was a little uncomfortable trying to do a full-blown analysis of that much story at once like I would a rewind. I would much rather do a thing like that episode to episode and really sink my teeth into it. And honestly, I think the analysis would have been better if I had taken the time to do that, but I wouldn't have had the time to do that. That would have been a half-a-year project. I probably not Iron Fist. Probably never going to be that. I guess never say never, but
can I make a suggestion for what you do for Iron Fist? Superhero fast forward, where you just say two words about it. It sucks.
Yeah, I won't do that. I mean, that's not in depth enough for me. I'm not going to do that.
I just figured all the bad stuff, it just gets the superhero fast forward treatment.
Yeah, Hot Flame says Daredevil season 1 rewind was difficult, and that was for a good show. Imagine how hard it would be for Iron Fist. I don't know if it being a bad show makes it harder or easier. I honestly don't know, because there's not as much analysis as there is just criticism. But I could see that being longer if I really, sunk my teeth into it, and that wouldn't be good for my brain. That wouldn't be good for my brain at all.
Connor Nielsen says, April Fool's idea, Iron Fist rewind. Okay, the next non-super chat question.
Yeah.
I had it somewhere and I just looked over it. I hate when I do that. Sorry, guys. This is. Oh, here it is.
Me
Rockman
too, Danny.
L.
God, come on.
I gotta step it up. Rockman LP says, any chance of more pop culture yearbook episodes with Manos? I miss those.
Yeah, Manos and I decided quite a while back that we weren't going to keep doing that show. We had kicked around doing another thing at one point, but I just haven't been taking the time to do as many collaborations with other people remotely for lots of reasons. The omnibus was kind of designed so that I would have more of my evenings free, and of course I'm starting to do more solo things again that command a little bit more of my time, but still, for the most part, most of what I'm shooting outside of Rewind is stuff for the omnibus, and we might have more guests on that show again eventually, but it has been a lot easier on me to kind of streamline things with Eric and not have too many guests. But that's not to say that I won't do more stuff like that down the road. But I don't know, just kind of too many series with too many different people. There were technical difficulties with a lot of people I was working with remotely, and it would be difficult to make a thing that we didn't have to make again, or that didn't have streaming issues and stuff. So anyway, but that's kind of the state of the channel right now. Is I'm trying to streamline it so that we don't do quite as much remote. I mean, Danny and I are just doing some things together, but that's mostly on the same night that we're shooting this, and we've had a pretty good connection, internet-wise.
Except for when my power goes out for 4 hours in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but that's not like a regular thing.
No, thankfully. The next.
See you later, Kellen. Thanks for being here.
Bye, Kellen. Thank you. The next question from Cinemograph.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Sorry, we were talking about Iron Fist. DJ says the first rewind is second person. I would love to do a second person rewind. That sounds like a terrible idea. I don't even know how you do that, but
April Fools. Hey,
it's a good idea. Yeah, Iron Fist is the April Fool's rewind is not a bad idea. You are the Iron Fist. Like 19 people will even get that joke. I would have to provide context for the joke, because jokes are always funnier when you explain them.
Why am I the Iron Fist? Because cheese.
Because in the 70s, that's what they said in the comic books. That's why it's funny. Anyway.
Cinemographic says, hey, Captain Logan, did you or anyone you know ever grow up with Hey Arnold?
No, I saw commercials for that. I never saw an episode of it. I don't know anything about that show.
Yeah, I'm the age that grew up with Hey Arnold, and I never really cared for it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I've heard.
Glad that wasn't a super chat.
Yeah. From Daniel Davis. Hey Cap, any other top 10s you've got planned? Like maybe a top 10 best Justice League episodes, or top 10 superhero themes, or something like that.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I've always got top 10 ideas. I want to do lots more of those. Of course, the next thing is going to be a top 50, so it'll be a little while before I do another top 10. I want to do most of the Bruce Timm stuff eventually. The next of those would be Superman when I get to it. It's not on the short list right now. But yeah, so for TV shows that are more episodic, and I probably honestly should have done Spider-Man differently, because it was archy enough. Doing a top 10 was a little bit odd for that. But anything I decide to do, because obviously I'm not going to do a rewind on every single TV show ever made. I'm trying to do every movie, but that's such a big thing, and it's been 9 years, and I'm not even scratched the surface. Okay, I've made a dent, but it's not as big of a dent as I wish it was. So I'm not gonna do everything, but yeah, there's more shows I'd like to do top 10s for. I thought about doing a top 10 superhero theme, music theme show, and the main reason I opted when I did, I might still do that. The main reason I opted when I did to do the intros video was because I couldn't use the music without getting copyright flagged, and it's kind of weird not to be try to talk about it but not to be able to use it. So what I would probably do, because in a podcast I can get away with it, and so I would probably post a version without the music on YouTube, and then a version with the music on iTunes. That's probably the way to do that. Don't you think, Danny?
Yeah. I don't know how iTunes gets with stuff like that, if they've got any way that pulls stuff off of there, and if that would negatively affect Podbean.
No, but if I just sampled, I'd be okay, I think. I mean, I listen to enough podcasts there that that are pretty lax about it.
Okay. I don't ever listen to anything on iTunes as
I
far
have
as
I mean,
podcasts.
I've listened to a lot of podcasts that I know are on iTunes, but I listen to it in a different place. I have considered, instead of that, maybe doing straight up soundtracks, just scores in general, because I'd have more to talk about, and that might be fun. So yeah, so those are some ideas. I've got lots of other things kind of floating in my head. I've thought about. I never know if I want to do negative things. You know, I'm doing the top 50 best performances. I thought about doing some worst of things.
Dimitri J says, Cap, you can have Brandon play the themes on violin to avoid copyright flags.
See, that's a great idea, except sometimes melodies will still get flagged, even if it's not an original recording. People suggest that all the time, and I have seen videos get flagged that don't even have music in them because a bot thought it had a melody from something. Yeah, you have to be really careful about music. I could whistle a theme right now and potentially get copyright flagged.
Good thing I can't whistle. The next super chat from Astronaut Misspelled. Will you jump out of a helicopter at 30,000 subs?
I'm telling you, if I could find somebody that had one, I absolutely would. I have been really racking my brain hard about another milestone thing I could do. I wanted to do something crazy for 25, and the only reason I didn't was because I couldn't come up with anything as wild and cool and out there as jumping out of a plane. The helicopter thing seems a little bit redundant. It's like, okay, so now you just jump out of things.
Jump into a plane while it's taking off and see if you can make it in there.
Wow, so you want me to reenact that scene in Star Trek Nemesis where I've got like a dune buggy and then I like jump into the back of like a shuttlecraft? If anybody has really cool ideas for something kind of wild but not prohibitively expensive that I could do for a milestone like that, let me know. I don't know if 30 is the right. I mean, 30 would be a good one to do it for. If I wait till 50, we could be waiting another 10 years. Honestly, at the rate that we grow here, we're a pretty small channel, so I don't know. Danny, immediately, does anything cool hit you? It doesn't have to be like dangerous. It doesn't have to be in that wheelhouse. It just needs to be as neat as jumping out of a plane. Because I'm afraid I've topped myself already.
Yeah, all I can think of are things that like you've done in some form for the channel.
Already? Somebody said the skyhook thing from Dark Knight.
I think you should dress up as Adam West Batman with a giant bomb, go down to some pier somewhere, and just run around trying to get rid of it.
Oh, that's hilarious! Yeah, and then you get somebody to light it, and you see if you can come up with like a fuse effect where it just doesn't go out.
That would be great. Webmaster47, thoughts on the Captain Marvel trailer? I think we talked about this last.
We did talk about it. Like, was that a super chat? I mean, I hate to not answer it if it's a super chat, but yeah, we talked about it last time. I'm more positive on it than it sounds like a lot of people are. I'm hearing a lot of complaints about it and just things that I didn't notice or was reserving judgment on. I still say that making fun of her punching an old lady in the face is kind of ridiculous. Like, that's pretty clearly a scroll or something like that. Like, it's maybe a weird thing to put in a trailer and not make it obvious that it's not just an old lady, but like, I think we're blowing that out of proportion.
I think there's a lot of people who don't know anything about comics who are sitting there and they're like, why is she punching this old woman? And then they're having to have people explain to them that it's a scroll, and they're like, okay, but what's a scroll?
Yeah, so sure.
I don't know if I did include that in the first trailer, unless
I wouldn't have either. And there's a lot of stuff. Okay, so my main criticism of that trailer is that, and I guess this proves my point, is that I don't know that the mainstream has any idea what they're looking at. I think that trailer is way too much for people in the know.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt, because I don't know.
But I think it was well cut.
Scroll. Yeah.
I still say the blockbuster thing was really smart in just immediately telling people that it's a period piece and doing something kind of funny at the same time. And I'm still really excited about Sam Jackson being in that much of the movie and looking that good with that effect on him. And but yeah. Okay. So a lot of the criticisms people have with it are kind of lost on me. Where I just, again, with trailers, I think people tend to jump the gun really hard, where they just start making assumptions about a thing that you've not seen yet. And you have to remember, I've said this a billion times, that trailers are not there to tell you what's in the movie. They're there to entice you to go. Now, you can say, well, I don't like this trailer because it is less enticing me to go, but to make leaps of, well, this must be what they're doing because I saw this. There are so many trailers I've seen where there's a thing that out of context seems ridiculous, and in context, yeah, that was fine. I totally get it.
Sorry. Next question from Mr. Roboto. Next super chat, excuse me.
Kelly Jones says hang gliding, hot air balloon,
rock climbing. I like it.
Oh man, I would need to work out a little bit before I went rock climbing again. I did that one time and I was like, I am not in good enough shape for this.
Jason says he's going to bed. So.
Oh, good night, Jason. Thanks for being here, buddy. I'll see you tomorrow. Same cap time, same gadget.
The next super chat from Mr. Roboto. Idea. Steak Evolution. Steak of the Month Club.
And Geevolution is the only place where you can buy them.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest steak guy. Like, I'll eat a steak every now and again, but I much prefer a good burger, usually.
Yeah, I love steak, so.
Yeah, my wife's big into this. I almost said my wife's a steak guy. My wife's a steak guy. She is. She's a steak guy.
Well, that's the next t-shirt.
My wife's a steak guy. Jeffrey says 30,000 celebration idea. Cat punches people on the bus.
But only if they're scrolls, because anything else would just be, rude.
See, it's one of those chicken and the egg things where it's like, if you trust me, you just have to assume that if I'm punching a person, it makes sense.
It could still be Jeffrey in your body, just looking for an excuse to punch somebody and blame you.
J-Man makes a good point. Again, I just don't feel like I've seen enough to immediately make this leap, and I'll tell you why in a second. Cap, he says I'm Cap, or I might be Danny Nixon. I'm not sure at this point. J-Man, Cap, I've seen Brie Larson in just about everything from the promos, the set photos, Kong Skull Island, and the trailer. I need to know why Brie looks like she doesn't want to be there. That's fair. I got a little bit of that from the end of that trailer, but again, I don't have the context. I don't mean to just keep throwing that around, but I didn't see a lot of her in that trailer. Here's the thing. And yeah, I saw Skull Island one time. I don't even hardly remember her performance in that. So I don't know enough about this actress. If you've seen her in a lot of stuff and you feel like she just doesn't have the chops, that is cause for concern. And that is certainly different than jumping the gun. So I get that. I still would reserve judgment. Maybe she'll rise to the occasion this time. Who knows? But I get the reservation. I just don't have it because I don't have the experience that you have with it. But let me suggest this. I saw BVS and thought Gal Gadot had one facial expression she was capable of making. And then I saw Wonder Woman, and I will just say she is somewhere in my top 50 list of performances. And so, again, I want to withhold judgment, but if you've seen her in more stuff and you just don't think she's got the chops for it, that's totally an understandable reservation.
The next question, the next super chat from the Vampire Diaries. Why don't you like Allison as much in season 2?
I don't want to talk about that too much right now. I mean, I'm not real far into that season yet. I don't know. There's just something about that performance, and I will say this. I was concerned that moving her away from the from just kind of the typical love interest to badass butt kicking chick with bow and arrow, she might not quite rise to that occasion, and they might not really know what to do with her compared to what she was doing that I was loving in the first season. I'm not saying that that she shouldn't be proactive and be a strong female character. I'm not saying that. I was just a little bit concerned that that moving from the first thing to the second thing, they might not really know how to handle that. She has seemed a little bit melodramatic ever since that happened. She seemed a little bit more typical to me. I don't know. But maybe when I have the whole season together, I'll like it more. I just I don't hate her or anything. I'm just not as impressed with her performance as I was, and with the character at large. I don't know.
Okay. The next non-super chat question from Andrew Follett. Do you think the MCU miniseries on the Disney streaming service could open the door to a potential Spider-Man/Daredevil crossover?
Oh boy, I doubt it. Just because, so my prediction is, and this would be sad, My prediction is the Disney streaming thing isn't really going to change the status of Netflix at all. I think other things might change that, but the fact that it's a straight up Disney streaming service and not partnered with Netflix, I think tells us it has everything to do with why they're able to do movie stuff and, you know, more continuity back and forth, like it looks like they're going to do. I don't know about you, Danny. I kind of don't think we immediately suddenly, just because it's a streaming service and on technically air quotes television, suddenly we have crossovers with Netflix stuff.
No, in fact, I'd wager to guess there might be some legal issues of they couldn't put any of the Netflix Marvel characters into the Disney streaming thing because it's streaming television. There might be some rights issues tied up in that where these characters can't go play the same character on a different streaming service because we've got these exclusive contracts. Like
I mean,
movies,
it
I could
was
see.
apparently incredibly difficult to do the Supergirl Flash crossover before that show moved to CW.
Yeah.
And that's under the same parent company, not partnered with some other company like Netflix.
Yeah, and this would be trying to get as far away from Netflix as possible. So Netflix surely would not want to take one of their big moneymakers and play ball with a direct competitor.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I would love that. And maybe it inches us closer to it. It's more likely that it would happen than right now with stuff on the big screen and stuff in, you know, your phone and your computer. But
yeah, the next question from Grady Childs. Do you think season 3 could be the last season of Daredevil and near the end Matt gets unmasked like in the comics?
I think he could get unmasked. I don't think that means that it's the last season. I will be very surprised if he's not outed. And I actually don't think it'll be last episode. I think it's more likely to be earlier. If they're doing Born Again, or I'm sorry, I guess they're doing Born Again stuff, but I mean, like, there's talk about the Mike Murdoch thing. I think it's more likely that he gets outed and he manages to kind of put it back into the bottle for a minute, like we did with sort of with Bendis. I think they'll mix some of that stuff in, but maybe not. Maybe that won't happen until the end of the season. I don't know. I don't know why. I've kind of been operating, and I've been careful not to find out too much about the season. I've been operating under the assumption that he gets outed pretty early that season. I don't know why. Maybe because I just watched Arrow do that. But they've been talking about ideas they have for 4, 5, and 6. That season would have to tank and no one watch it before they don't make it anymore. It gets at least another season.
Yeah, I can see them doing an unmasking thing at the end of a season or doing it like first episode of a season and that being the entire arc. I can see it either being like the cliffhanger going into a next season, but there's no way that season 3 of so far their most critically well-received and fandom well-received Netflix show getting canceled or not getting another season unless the original contract was only for 3 seasons of each show or whatever contract they're currently working on, and Disney decides they don't want to do anything else with Netflix and they decide to hold off until they can move it on to their own streaming service.
See you later, Hawk Flame. We're not going to be here too much longer ourselves. Danny, how many more super chats do we have?
2 more. No, 3 more.
Let's go ahead and knock those out, and then we will call it a night because we are right at time.
Okay. Super Nerd asks, Cap, how would you feel if Geekvolution was picked up as a TV show by TNT, Spike TV, now Paramount TV, NBC, etc.? Thank you for answering.
Sure, no problem. So one of these things is not like the others. I think if Geekvolution ever got picked up by any of those, it would be a lot more likely to be one of those like 4th tier channels like TNT. Geekvolution would go on TNT or TBS. We'd be a TBS show, right? That's what we
public access.
Well, yeah, no, you're right. We'd be Wayne's World before we were anything. But I don't know. I don't know what that premise is. Yeah, but if you're saying like not a like silly scripted thing based on Geekvolution, but actually like a what we do here but on regular television, I mean, like, yeah, that would be amazing on one hand. On the other hand, I don't know if I would want to do a thing like that, Danny. Like I would do the TV personality thing and maybe be a talk show host, but I wouldn't. But I like the community that we have and what we do here. Like, I wouldn't want Geekvolution to become a TV thing. I would do a separate thing. But I wouldn't want like the YouTube channel to go to television.
Yeah, Geekvolution would become like a Talking Dead or whatever, the knockoff of Talking Dead that's on after Game of Thrones. and it would air like right after Arrow, so we'd all have to watch Arrow if we were going to be on that show. Despite how bad it gets, and we couldn't talk too bad about it because we're being.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I would never get on a thing like that because I'd be too critical.
Yeah, I can't do the like Chris Hardwick. Everything's awesome. I'm so stoked because you can read my face when I don't care.
Yeah, and how ironic is that with a name like Hardwick too? If your name was Hardwick, you'd be like, nah, this sucks.
Daniel Davis says,
Arrow, only season 1 and the first half of season 2.
Jeffrey says, Geekvolution now presented by Chris Hardwick? ?
Yeah, I think other people thought of that. Just as you said it, yeah.
Mr.
I guess just Jeffrey. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Roboto says, Geekvolution Law and Order. That would be great. Just a police procedural.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about the law because I would love to write a courtroom drama, but I don't know enough. I would suck at it.
You always talk to Dan. He's studying law, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I got resources, but that sounds like research, you know.
Whereas with a book about people turning into food, you lived that. The next question from Grady Childs. Would you like it if Seth MacFarlane wrote/directed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? Also, he could play Adam Warlock since he likes to play his characters in his work. Also, what are your Patreon tiers?
So I think MacFarlane as Adam Warlock would be an awful choice, but because like they would make that a comedic character and he should be a straight up straight man. And I mean, like he should be a little bit conceited, but not like MacFarlane. But anyway, this might be the same person that I saw make a comment about this a while back on the channel. I like that idea of his directing that movie. It wouldn't happen, I don't think. But I think he's got the right sensibilities for it. Maybe.
I was about to say that's one of the big names that you could get to direct that would kind of fit in with James Gunn's sensibilities.
His sensibilities and also his love for science fiction. I mean, I wouldn't have been interested in this idea at all until I saw the Orville. And now that I've seen that, I'm like, no, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's the most inventive, best idea I've heard so far. I like that. So Patreon tiers, I mean, you can just go to patreon.com/geekvolution and take a look at the tiers. This might be the same person. Somebody sent me that question on Twitter today, and I meant to respond but didn't get a chance. But I mean, it's laid out for you. It's easier than me just explaining it. But I'll go through it real fast. $2 tier. Everybody's like, oh man, you just watched Captain Logan in a commercial. Why'd you do that? $2 tier is for Geekvolution After Dark, our uncensored twice monthly talk show that Eric and I do. It gets you 3-day now early rewinds and monthly chats with me. There's a couple of other perks there. And then $5 is Rewind Selection Board, where sometimes, it's been a while since I've done one, but sometimes I'll put up a poll and let you help me decide what the next rewind is going to be. $10 makes you a Patreon producer and you get your name at the end of rewinds. That is also the tier where if you want to, you can be you can take my creative writing class that meets once a month. For $20 we do, and that's all filled up right now. I've got 12 people doing that. But if you want to do this, just check in because sometimes people drop out. We do monthly requests where you can request something for me to review off the cuff on a video, and $50 is a rewind request. Those are the tiers. Okay, do we have any more?
Yes, one more.
Super chats? Okay, go ahead.
From Mr. Roboto, he says, Birdman superhero movie. Would you see with Michael Keaton? So would you see an actual Birdman superhero movie?
Oh, yes, of course. No, that's a hilarious idea. Yeah. It would have been fun if they shot a short or something.
Yeah, that would have been a great like Blu-ray special feature or something. I would.
Yeah, or even viral marketing. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. I remember when...
Put something out before the movie comes out where it's like, this is a clip of the movie that he made.
Yeah, or do like the like Oscar reel type of thing.
Yeah.
Or kind of like a trailer, I guess, maybe.
Cool. Or do like a mini documentary where it's like the rise and fall of Birdman, where the first one looks like 89 and then it slowly descends into Batman and Robin.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be really... It's a really...
Although I don't think that's exactly the history of that. I can't remember. I don't know if because I only saw that movie once and it's been a while. I can't remember if the idea was because didn't it just stay really popular and people always wanted him to come back, but he wouldn't come back. Like, I don't know if that actually would have degenerated into crappier superhero fare or not.
Now that you bring it up, I can't remember it. Like, it's been a while since I've gone back and actually watched it, so I'm not too familiar.
Can you believe that was 4 years ago now?
Was it really?
I think it was. I think it was 2014.
I think you're right, because it's the same year Amazing Spider-Man 2 comes out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, that's and Winter Soldier was 2014.
Yeah.
Is that all the same year? Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember just being inundated with, I got to go to the movies. I got to go to the movies. I got to go to the movies this weekend, and this weekend.
I reviewed that with Tim Lyons when it came out. Okay, is that everything?
That
as far as super chats go?
The super chats.
Why don't you throw us one more scripted question, and we'll go ahead and bid everybody farewell.
Okay, I will try to find something
scripted. I'm just gonna keep saying that. It's so dumb. Pre-written, not super chat question.
Technically, they are all scripted.
That's true. Yeah, people had to write them down. You know, it's not a call-in show. That would be fun, but I don't have a great rig for it.
That would. You'd have to have like a screener.
that would be your job.
Yeah, I pass on that one.
Nah, do it. Do it.
Can you give us your thoughts on the Marvel one-shot All Hail the King?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen that. I thought it was really funny, and I agree with people that say that it's kind of weird that they backtrack, that they felt the need to backtrack like that. I thought that was too apologetic. For anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, this is that short, right? The short with the Mandarin, where it's like we had to respond to the fan backlash by saying there really is a Mandarin out there somewhere, and it was clever the way they did it, but I never thought they needed to apologize for Iron Man 3. Like, I get why people complain about it. I've talked about this in the Rewind and other places. But I kind of wish they'd stuck to their guns on it. But it was fun to see Justin Hammer again. That short made me want both of those characters to come back in some way. It was really well made. It was fun.
I've actually never sat down and watched any of the Marvel shorts.
That's the only one I did. I never saw the Agent Carter one.
Yeah,
I've seen that whole show now, so that seems kind of, or well, most of that show. I don't think I've ever finished season 2 actually, but it feels kind of redundant now. But
is the short set after or before that show would start?
It would be after, because as I understand it, that short was her helping to set up S.H.I.E.L.D., and her show is pre-S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, cool. I need to go and watch those since they're apparently not making those anymore and haven't been for a while, so it's not like I got to keep catching up on those things.
But anyway, well, why don't we go ahead and call it good for tonight. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. We will see you again, once again, next Wednesday night. Again, probably at this time, we may move it a little bit early. Tonight, Danny and I had something else to do before the show, so it was 9 again. We've been kicking around making the show a little bit earlier. Some people have been requesting that and like that idea, and I like the idea of having more time afterwards to possibly do a second live show like I did a couple weeks ago with the pilot, or last week, I guess, with the pilot for Superhero Rewatch, which went really well. And Danny, I'm getting a lot of requests to keep doing that.
I enjoyed it for the few minutes I was in there before I had to get out of there. But
I'd like to be able to do that with you some too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do Birds of Prey now that it's on DCU.
Oh yeah, that's on my short list. That's one of the big ones I really want to do.
So I'm only one episode into that. It's so much different than I thought it would be.
In what way? Positively or negatively?
Positively. Like, it's really stylized. And
see, it doesn't hold up for me as well as I was really into that show. And it's got a cool look to it, but you can tell they had like $19.
Oh yeah, because they're just reusing all the not Tim Burton, but the Schumacher bat suits. But
yeah. And other stuff. I mean, they take some major
CGI's not
cut some major corners, but yeah. And even for that time, I don't know that it was great, but yeah, I like their Harley Quinn a lot. Mia Sara is awesome.
Yeah, I've only seen a little bit of her. I really like her. I'm excited to see what they do with the rest of it.
At some point, if I can, I will show you the unaired pilot with the other actress because she's horrible.
That's what I heard is they switched her out after that first pilot, and I was like,
yeah. It's on the DVDs if you ever get your hands on that.
I will look for it. Apparently, there is no like Blu-ray copy of it at all because on DCU the quality is 480p. It looks bad compared to everything.
It doesn't look good. Yeah. And the other thing that really hurts my feelings about Birds of Prey is I was a big fan of the song in that intro, and we'll never get that back again. And the intro song they have, which you haven't even heard yet because it's not in the pilot, but it's awful. And they didn't even go with the right style of music, I don't think. But
I know they're using like that Evanescence type of like early like post grunge emo rock, and I'm like, oh man, this takes me back to when I was an angsty child.
I still like some of that stuff. I make no apologies for it. But anyway, well, folks, thanks a lot for watching, and we will see you again next week. I am Captain Logan,
and I'm just Danny.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.